Hi there, students. Meltdown. A countable or uncountable noun. One word. Or to melt down as a verb as well. Okay, let's see. Meltdown talks about a crisis situation where things go really badly, a disastrous collapse or a breakdown of something. So the global markets went into meltdown. They suffered a major meltdown. Okay, so yeah, they just collapsed. Let's see. This word, we primarily use it, or the basic meaning is an accident in a nuclear reactor where the nuclear fuel gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and it overheats and it melts, and then it gets hotter still and it melts the shielding around it. So, for example, we all know about the meltdown that occurred in Chernobyl. Yeah, the catastrophe at Chernobyl was nuclear meltdown, and that's it. And then we use this meltdown to talk about a crisis, and as a simile or a metaphorical meaning that something went really badly. Okay, so to go into meltdown. You can also use this for when somebody has a very great emotional outburst, a tantrum. So the stress on him had been growing and growing and growing, and finally he went into meltdown. Okay, he had an emotional breakdown. That's the idea of it. But I guess a catastrophic failure or collapse of mental control, of control over what you are doing and saying. Okay, so yes, the industry went into meltdown. For example, a credit meltdown, a meltdown in the industry, financial meltdown, political meltdown. The peace talks between the two sides went into meltdown. So let's see, particularly to go into meltdown. Yeah, a meltdown in something, a meltdown of something. Yeah, the whole banking industry is in meltdown due to the credit crisis or the credit crunch. Yeah, a meltdown in credit. So, meltdown in finance, a situation where an industry or an economy has a lot of problems in a very short time. Meltdown, when somebody gets extremely upset and they're just not able to deal with a problem. When I got home, I found the kids were in meltdown. They were screaming and shouting. And then meltdown, a complete failure of something, particularly in finance. And then the original meaning, a situation in a nuclear reactor where the fuel melts all of the containment and all of the things keeping it in, and then very often there's a fire or an explosion which sprays the radiation everywhere. Okay, so meltdown. We use it, a process of irreversible breakdown of something as well. So yeah, the situation got worse and worse and finally went into meltdown, calamity, catastrophe, tragedy, disaster, cataclysm. So notice the phrasal verb to melt something down. okay, to melt a metal so that it can be remade into something else. So they melted down the gold coins to make bars of gold. And I think to melt down, you could probably use it as a phrasal verb with the other meanings I've given. The economy is starting to melt down. As to formality, I think I'd probably give Meltdown a 4.5 in formality. Use it in an informal conversation, a semi-formal conversation, a semi-formal writing, but perhaps something very formal, it's not so suitable. And then this word melt comes from Proto-Germanic meltana, meaning to melt, and that from Proto-Indo-European meld or smelled, meaning melt. So there you go. It hasn't really changed very much. So meltdown, the economy is in meltdown. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Meltdown, to melt down.